Oh. You are?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Shall we?
So hi, comic book guys and gals. Yes, the DC Watch guys are back. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing okay. And pretty fly for a Filipino guy. I love that name. How you doing?
Same here. I do too.
Anyway, so you guys have seen probably a gazillion videos, you know, on the Flash trailer, right? Because everybody says, "Oh, I got to get it out there. Everybody's got to watch my video first." Your DC Watch guys have each watched the video 250 times. We know it frame
51.
by frame. We said, let's wait. Let's digest the whole thing. I mean, just like eating a nice oatmeal raisin cookie, you savor it, you get it in your mouth. And finally, when you swallow it, you say, boy, that was good. Right?
Yeah.
So,
actually,
and then it comes out.
Chip cookie.
What was that?
Oh, actually, I prefer a chocolate chip cookie instead.
You know, no, it's got to be oatmeal raisin, guys. Oatmeal raisin. That's what Batman eats. And that's what gives him the muscles.
Eat floor.
I guess that's canon.
Anyway, but before we begin, I got a question for you guys. So, just to kind of set the stage a little bit, because now we've seen it, and we're going to talk a little bit about whether, you know, it's Flashpoint, what's going to happen, and all that as we go through it. But do you guys think that this is actually the last DCEU movie? I mean, you still got Aquaman. I'm confused with this a little bit, and we can talk a little bit more about it before, but I want you to think about that when we're looking at this movie and the stuff that James Gunn and Peter Safran have said about this movie, other than it's the greatest superhero movie they've ever seen.
I'll tell you what, I was excited that he said that. And look, I know it's his job to promote his movies. I get it. But he wasn't saying that about the others. And
yeah,
I hope they're good. But, you know, that was sort of unprompted. And I think he knows if he says something like that and the movie's just terrible, his word means nothing, you know? Yeah. So, and look, I'm hoping he's right. And I've you know, we've been hearing leaks for a long time that, hey, this is a really good movie. So...
Yeah. The audience reviews, the preliminary audience reviews apparently are fantastic. And if it's anything like the trailer, man, I wish it was coming out tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Talking about the trailer, let's get it started. Let's see what we got. Okay.
Tell me something. You can go anywhere. Another timeline. Another universe. So why do you want to stay and fight to save this one?
Because this is the world where my mom lives. I'm not going to lose her again.
All right, I got to stop it there. So it's setting up the Flashpoint stuff, right? I mean, that seems to be the case to me. Yeah. And the person who's speaking to him is Batman 89, Bruce Wayne, right?
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Have we seen that yet?
No, but it sounds like him.
I know. Look, everybody's seen this by now. So
it's Christian Bale.
Where's the trigger?
Well, I'll tell you something, because the first time I heard it, it didn't dawn on me that it was him. And I wanted to hear it again, but of course I was at a Super Bowl party and like everybody was screaming and yelling. I'm going, shh, it's the Flash thing. Shh. Everybody going, what's
this is
he
why I'm
yelling
watching
about?
the Super Bowl
Exactly.
for this 30-second commercial.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there in front of the television, everybody's screaming, drinking, whatever else, and I'm saying, I can't hear this thing. Yeah. Anyway, so they're setting up the kind of the Flashpoint thing, I guess. But remember what he said here, because I'm gonna, I got a little confused. as we went over there. But he's saying, why do you want to stay in this? Did he say time stream or whatever it happened to be?
Did it stay or
So-
save this one?
Save this time
Okay.
stream.
I'm
Right.
trying to remember,
Save.
yeah.
Correct. Okay. I think that's important, at least in my view. All right, let's go on.
Time has a pattern that it can't help reliving.
Is he there or is he remembering this? That makes a big difference, I think.
We'll
I mean,
find out.
Just the
Okay.
way that the sky changed, yeah, it's probably like something in his head or some. It's something.
Because I
Not
see
real.
this all, people commenting this all over the place. Nobody knows. I'm just thinking. out
How
loud.
cool is his costume in this shot too?
That's the thing. Is that like the new
Different.
52 costume? That
No,
no?
sorry. New 52 has the chin guard.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, this looks a little more sleek, old school, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Now the
yeah,
question is this the Bruce Wayne suit that supposedly helps him? Because remember when the Snyder version is the one that he made by himself.
Hmm.
yeah,
So maybe this is the upgrade, the Bruce Wayne upgrade.
the one
Maybe.
that's we'll see.
With the
The
okay.
bling.
All right.
Different people, different worlds, drawn to each other like magnets.
The other thing, I'm sorry to stop this all the time, but let's go back very quickly here because I want to mention something here. All right. There's a lot of talk about the lightning color. Look at this.
Different people,
Oh yeah.
different.
Oh, and his hands. Look at his hands. Whose hands are that? I mean, look at it. It looks like he's been beaten on something or somebody, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Worlds.
Blue lightning.
Yeah.
Later on, who has the blue lightning? This is very strange.
Okay.
So I'm
Keep
not
that
sure
in
what that
mind,
means.
folks.
Drawn to each other like magnets.
A lot of yellow.
My face. So my face.
I love that.
If you were to go into the past, you have no idea what the consequence.
So here. Now, obviously, young Barry doesn't have powers, right? So I'm thinking old Barry said, I got to get you some powers here. And somehow set it up. But it looks like it's going through old Barry into young Barry.
Is that the longer haired Barry that he was talking to before? I have a hard time telling.
Well, the young
honestly.
Barry is the long-haired Barry.
I think that's the one with no powers. I think.
Yeah, he has no
Okay,
powers
so
with it.
he's not just has longer hair; he's a couple years younger.
He's younger,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, okay,
Right.
I gotcha.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. At least that's the way I see it. Unless I
But
don't know.
I'll tell you
Pretty fly?
what, I've been seeing a lot of talk about the fact that younger Barry is wearing a lot of yellow, and I think there's some speculation that maybe that's not Barry. Maybe
Well,
that's Theo
we can talk
Bard's
about that
son?
later. There's a couple of possibilities.
I'm jumping the
there,
gun.
I think.
Okay,
The James Gunn.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Allow me.
Yeah, right.
This can be. Bruce, I could fix things. You could also destroy everything.
This can't be happening. I completely broke the universe.
This is why they needed to keep Cavill in here. Look what's happening.
Agreed.
Now. The whole friggin' world is going to be destroyed. Henry Cavill could be there saving everything.
Well, but I think that's where they made
Joe.
the switch.
I'll-
But it's cool to see the Man of Steel stuff.
Joe, I haven't yet said anything about what I thought.
I'm doing it on purpose because Pretty Fly still thinks it's going to happen. I'm sorry.
I have so much I'm not saying right now about this and about Flashpoint, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
When it's through, we'll talk about
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Sorry.
We've been waiting for you.
Who's he waiting for? That's what I want to know. What does that mean? We've been waiting for you.
Uber Eats.
Henry Cavill, Pretty Fly. It's going to be.
I created a world with no metahumans. And now there's no one to defend us.
Want some help?
You are?
Yeah. I'm Batman.
Now, I'm sorry, but I still get a chill when I hear that. I just do. I mean, it's just so perfect. You know, I mean, everybody's
And
talking
the
about.
tones.
They must have played this portion of it. People just can't even play. I put it in the intro for Pete's sakes. Everybody's talking about this. Look, he looks great. He just looks great. He looks like Batman.
Right.
Batman.
Because
Right?
this is the draw for the non-fans,
Yeah.
for the
Maybe.
general audience. So
Yeah.
you gotta. I mean, personally, I would have done it more subtle, like from the shadows or something like that. But you gotta draw people in. So.
No subtlety here. They're hitting you right over
Yeah.
the head with it. And I think that was the thing to
Like,
do.
we
with
got to
this
sell
thing.
this movie. We're not.
And
we're not
actually,
being subtle.
Which
right.
makes me think, what else do they have? Because they've already revealed him saying the line. So what else
yeah.
is there?
There's going to
Yeah.
be, I think, a bunch of cool stuff in this film.
Yeah, there's
And
got
I
to be
think we
more
just
to
gotta-
Keaton,
Oh
Man,
yeah.
well, I'll stop talking and let you play because it's that good.
But I'll tell you something. The next scene, I'm going to reveal something that everybody doesn't, that probably people don't know. When Batman's jumping off, that the thing he's on, that's not really Keaton. I just want people to know that. It's a stunt double. I'm sorry to give that away, but
It's George Clooney.
it's George Clooney. Now there's Batfleck.
Batfleck.
So what the hell? Now I want to know what he's doing, other than telling Barry, you're a dummy. You're going to screw everything up. What's he doing here? How does this play into the movie? I mean, I know we don't know the answer, but this is something that it bothers me at night. When I wake up at 2 a.m., this is what I'm thinking about.
I'm just afraid that this scene is just like, here, previously, or like, here's what's happening, and then that's it. There's nothing more to it. But what I really want is, something more to this. So like, what's happening?
I will not be surprised. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Lenny.
Well, maybe it's like has something to do with the Black Zero event. The event, with the in Man of Steel where they were trying to terraform. It's called the Black Zero event.
Okay,
that's what it's called. Maybe this is part of it. Maybe this is like a car being sucked in to the the world machine.
Maybe.
And Batman's
World
trying to
engine,
dodge, or the world engine, or whatever. I forgot what it's called.
I just assume
for a Man of Steel fan, I forgot what it's called.
Come on, right.
I know.
Fan. No, I'm thinking it. Look, we'll know in a few months. This may be wholly separate. This might be an action sequence at the beginning of the movie. Flash helps out Batman. Then he has that conversation, tells him what he's going to do, and then he goes and does it. This may be unrelated. Who knows? We'll find. I have no idea how they're putting all these cool elements together, and that's part of the excitement.
Because Joe has it framed on this shot where I'm trying to think: is this Gotham or Metropolis? It's too clean to be Gotham.
It's daylight too. They tend to not do the bad.
Yeah, daylight doesn't exist in Gotham, so this has to be Metropolis.
Right.
Gotham's like this big black hole that's just absorbing the light of the sun, so this has to be.
But if you're saying that, Lenny, and this is like the world's son's Superman, and Zod is coming in here. That's not what we saw before. We saw a timeline with the Keaton Batman. So if what you're saying is true, the two Batmen are in the same timeline. I don't see that, but that would be something really strange, And
or maybe this is the before he goes to the Keaton verse.
I think it is. I think this will be in the first third of the film. We'll find out. Could be wrong. But this brings me to some Flashpoint story points that I don't know if you want to get into yet.
We can do that if you want. As long as it takes a long time.
Look, this really seems like it's based on Flashpoint, which was a really fun, emotional story
You know
Perhaps-
what, Dave? Let's play the rest of it. We only have about a minute left.
Okay,
all
yeah,
right?
let's play it.
Yeah,
Yep.
And then
and I want to jump into the Flashpoint conversation as well. So.
Okay, so I mean, this is obviously Kara, I guess, since
Carrying
Cavill
who?
is since well, you know, since
No, but who's she
since
carrying?
Cavill is no longer
or
part of
is
the
it?
DC. There was somebody online that said a Henry Cavill type person.
Carrie. It's Michael B. Jordan.
If I can't undo what I did, if I can't get back,
Okay, blue and whatever it is, orange or gold, right?
Yeah.
And there was some talk that the color because Barry, if I remember correctly, in Justice League, either one of the two, I think his lightning was blue. But here it looks like it's gold or yellow, whatever you want to call it. So there was some talk about the younger Barry. Once he gets the powers, he's got blue, because you have to kind of mature into the Speed Force in some way,
or
to get the yellow.
Or Joe. There's someone else who has yellow Flash.
I know.
Whose shirt am I wearing right now? Which Flash is it?
I don't know. Somebody
Dave?
who's on a national television channel.
Where's this from?
Are you saying that Grant Gustin is going to be in this film, Lenny? Is that your hypothesis?
I would love that.
Ezra was in his show.
He was.
Well, that's the way to make the connection, right? The super multiverse, right? Why not do
I would
that?
be surprised if they spent a lot of time with him.
You shouldn't be surprised now that I've said it. It's no longer a surprise.
I would love that. That
I
thought
won't be
crossed
shocked
my
if
mind.
lots of people, if there are lots of little cameos. I mean, I've seen stuff about.
Why do you think
they're
I wore
trying
this
to work
shirt?
with Christopher Reeve in there, like, we'll find out.
All right.
there might not be a future.
Moving great, Batman. Yes.
What's the play? Batman, what do we do?
We try not to die.
That's the signal.
Yeah, he's
It's
dead.
not
He's
Clark.
dead.
Very dead.
My name.
So this is a big Cadmus thing, right? It's either Cadmus or the USSR or something like that. I mean, but it reminds me of the coach.
I'm
the
reading
whole
the letters on
Cadmus
her
thing.
shirt. I'm not
Yeah,
looking
I'm
at
trying to
anything
read
else.
it.
Right?
Yeah.
It says
And this
Henry
is
Cavill will not be in this movie, is what I can say.
not this movie.
they already paid him like $500,000 to be in it. You might as well leave it in.
Yeah,
maybe it is Cadmus, but in a different language.
it looks like it's reversed,
No.
right? It's hard to say.
Yeah,
But I mean,
because,
it may not be Cadmus, right? But it's a Cadmus type of thing, right? They keeping her, from having the sunlight
This
and all the rest
seems
of that
really
stuff.
familiar.
And right now she's in
From Flashpoint.
Wayne Manor, right?
Yeah, I think
Keaton's
you're
Wayne
right.
Manor, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is
Because
Wayne
of
Manor.
that long table. Remember that long table in Batman Returns where they're like,
Didn't they have dinner at it?
they're having a date with Selena
Yeah.
and
They're all at
yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite ends.
yeah.
So this,
They're-
it's just killing me not to talk about all the Flashpoint
Come
story
on.
points. Let it play.
Yeah, love play.
Miss Kara. I'm
Well, we're
Barry.
Barry.
Barry, what are you doing? Our kids are gonna want to see this.
Can I just bring up the elephant in the room? Let's get it over with.
Well,
Oh,
first
cool.
of all, before you do that,
Yeah.
I love the fact that they brought up the comic books at the end.
That's what I told you guys.
Isn't that great?
Flashpoint.
That was in my
front and
that was
center.
in my keys to DC. If you guys remember.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll
Been a
cut
while.
that part out and put on Instagram. But yeah, the elephant in the room, Ezra. I mean,
Yeah.
Separating from what's going on outside of this movie, his performance is really good in the trailer. Like you could tell the difference that the two different Barrys are different,
Mhm.
and I just want to give him props for that, because I know,
Not
I
props for
know,
the crimes, but props
not
for
yeah,
no.
yeah,
Alleged.
a lot of it's alleged as well. Good, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, I mean, like both of his iteration of or interpretation of the different barriers are like are I think he's doing a good job
He done a great
portraying
job.
different berries.
Yeah.
But you know the visuals. I mean, if the rest of the movies, like the visuals, just seem amazing to me.
Yeah.
And
do.
the action sequences,
Mhm.
just in this 2.5 minutes, whatever we got, the action sequences look amazing.
They do.
As well.
And,
So those two things,
and
you know,
Joe, you know who's doing the visuals?
you.
I wish.
All
Zach's
former
people.
Snyder people. Yeah.
Zach's people.
Zach's people, right?
Well, they've been working on this for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because that kind of clued me in that this movie is going to be special, because after Justice League 2017, they didn't want to have anything to do with comic books or DC anymore. Something about the script drew them back in.
Hmm.
And then, because I heard that in an interview, and then when I heard it, I was like, it must be good then. There must be something in this script that drew there were two of them, main guys, and they were drawn back to the story, or to at least work with Warner Brothers.
Right. So I kind of want to go back to your elephant in the room and kind of acknowledge that. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it for a little bit or move on from it. But we all know that Ezra Miller, has had a hard time, perhaps some substance abuse issues. I'm not entirely sure. They're talking about that, was arrested. And there's some people who are not going to want to see this movie because of the allegations. Right. And I think that's entirely fair. That's an individual's decision.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, I can't watch a movie about a hero who's portrayed by someone who is doing things that I find, problematic or abhorrent. That's someone's prerogative to feel that way. So I get that. Mm-hmm. He's clearly going through some things and has done some things. And I hope that he can find his way back from those things. And I do believe people deserve second chances, but I believe they very much have to earn those second chances and, admit to what they've done, make the necessary apologies and take the necessary actions to face the consequences. We talk a lot about, it's a buzzword to talk about cancel culture now, but there's a lot of consequence culture to this, and there are bits of that. Did someone say something offensive? Did someone do something that's fireable? Did someone do something that's criminal? And there are levels of all that, and I think there are different consequences for all of those, and they're possibly talking.
Well, he has taken what based on what I hear, he has taken the first steps in that regard. So the question, I think, from the standpoint of a fan is, is he going to, just like Gal Gadot or whomever, who's going to survive? Is he going to survive? And I think the movie may really give us the answer as to whether you're going to have a Barry Allen or maybe a Wally West or something like that because you're going to need a Flash, right? Yeah. So the question is going to be who it's going to be, and I think this movie will answer some of those questions, as we go forward with that. Especially as I don't know if Gunn and Safran lucked into this. He did say in his thing, we were really fortunate with the new movies coming up, and whether they had anything to do with maybe tweaking it a little bit so they could move it from the DCEU to the DCU, using kind of this Flashpoint based movie. I mean, I don't think Jeff Johns was involved with this, but I mean,
who was Walter Hamada. This is his baby.
Oh, that's right. It was his baby. Yeah.
It was still under Toby Emmerich.
Yeah.
And it kind of well, I'll get into this now, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we haven't forgotten about you, Dave, and Flashpoint. We haven't forgotten about you.
Yeah, I think this Flash, I think, is actually the bridge from the Snyderverse to this new verse. Because when I heard that the first Flash movie is going to be Flashpoint, I was going to be like, they're just using Flashpoint to erase Snyder, get new actors, and clear any traces of that world. But then
they're going to get rid of what they want to get rid of and keep what they want to keep.
Right. But to me, that's a shame,
like
because
the comics.
Because that's a shame, though, because the Flashpoint's such a good story that you're just going to use it for just to justify recasting and reboot. That's just such a waste of a good story, because Flashpoint is about an established Justice League that kind of got messed up because of what Barry did in the past. And the whole movie is about restoring that former Justice League in its place, or that world anyway, right?
See, I can I jump in, Lenny? Is that okay?
Yeah.
What I view them as doing is basically what the comics did. Flashpoint was going to be its own story. It was its own thing. And then I think it was Dan DiDio at the time went to Johns and said, hey, we want to start this entire thing over. We're calling it the New 52. Can we use Flashpoint to do that? And John said, okay. And I kind of feel like that's what's happened with this movie. We're going to do Flashpoint. And then they said, well, we're bringing in, we're going a different direction. Can we use this movie to start it all over? I think it parallels what they did DC did with the comics very closely.
But I will say though, Dave, how many other stories have done that to make changes from one, run to another run? Well, other stories like the Crisis, Convergence.
Oh, in comics, it's happened a lot. In films, this is
there's
unprecedented, I would say.
But the story in Flashpoint made it special compared to the others.
Well, why do you say that? I'm not sure I understand the point.
Well, because we've seen like a darker Batman who's married to the Joker, and we've seen the Amazons fighting the
Atlanteans.
The Atlanteans. So that's a very compelling story, and it's all because of an action of one. So I think that's a good story. Just to waste it, because if you're gonna reboot, we didn't need a story for why Val Kilmer became Batman after Keaton. We didn't need a story of why George Clooney took over after that. But they just did.
You're right, but that was also pre-shared films in its own universe. That was a different time.
But we didn't need a story for Hugh Jackman X-Men to First Class.
Yeah, but Lenny, I don't think the original story, and I kind of agree with you, Dave, that they probably went to let's use this to reboot, reboot, hopefully.
That's very DC.
Yeah, but I don't think that I don't have any proof or anything like this, but it would be hard for me to believe that the original Flash movie, before they said, hey, let's do this, would have went down the road of the comic book. I mean, that's like 3 movies, maybe.
Yeah, they could not do that. Beat for beat. Although there are a ton of parallels. If you watch this, we'll get into that.
First of all, I don't think Flashpoint was going to be the first movie, because remember, Ezra was cast as Flash during Grant Gustin's first season, or the premiere of that series. That's when Ezra was casted, and famously,
Stephen Amell.
Famously, Amell was upset by that. It's like, why are you introducing a movie Flash when my boy Ezra Gustin is trying to do his own thing?
He was disrespectful.
Yeah. So I remember. So where I'm getting at with all this is that Walter Amada did want to use Flashpoint as to erase or pick and choose whatever they wanted from Snyder or whatever, like the comics did. But I think when James Gunn came in, he made changes, and I think those changes are to keep the Snyderverse open. I think those are the changes that Gunn and Safran made in this movie. So I think the Flashpoint will happen, and it's going to be the Gunverse, and maybe down the line it will go back, or at least bring in Cavill and Godot again, or
Well, Godot maybe, but I don't know. Cavill, I think, is gone.
we don't know right now because he can't commit. Because remember, Snyder's also committed to a 3-picture deal with Netflix, so he can't really do anything with this for another couple of years.
Well,
I think Snyder's gone and Cavill's gone.
Cavill's post,
but they can come back. Though. That's my point.
Like Cavill's post, saying, look like I was going to be back. Now I'm not. We're going to grieve. Just the way he phrased things made me think he does not believe he's coming back, or at least coming back anytime soon.
Nor he should, because this is just my speculation. But from what I'm seeing, is like everything is still kind of okay. It's still going.
Well, it would be interesting.
I haven't seen anything to contradict my speculation.
I haven't seen anything to support it either.
Oh, I've given you tons.
Well, here's the thing.
I think it'd actually be
young Batman if they left that open. If they essentially split the universes and said, "Hey, it still exists out here somewhere," kind of like Earth 1 and Earth 2. We didn't see Earth 2 very often, but we knew it was there, and we saw it occasionally in the crossover. But primarily, it was focused on Earth 1. Yeah. Well, I think that'd be smart. I don't know that that's going to happen. I guess we'll see if your speculation,
that's why I call it
has any basis in anything other than.
But if it does happen, folks, know where you heard it first.
I'll be
right. Let's this Cavill stuff is old news now. Come on. Let's go on. So let's go back and let's talk about Flashpoint a little bit. So I had said originally, is this the final movie and all that? And we look at it, and to me, there seem to be some contradictions there. Where he's being told in the beginning, why do you want to stay? Why do you want to save this timeline and all that? We're talking about timelines, right? And then he's saying, if I don't go back, I've broken things. My feeling is that he doesn't know where he is exactly. He might think he's back in the past of, let's say, the Snyderverse past, but he's not, because you've got a different Batman there.
Yeah.
So to me, they were like confusing things that it didn't sound, like a multi-universe. You're in a whole different universe.
But let's look at the original Flashpoint comic that may give some answers. Barry goes back, saves his mother, comes forward, and everything's different. Bruce is dead. Thomas Wayne is Batman.
Right.
This one, same beat. He comes back. There's no Ben Affleck Batman.
No Batfleck, yeah.
But there's Michael Keaton Batman. So there are all these parallels. Like when he in Flashpoint, Flash worked with a different Batman. Well, that different Batman's Michael Keaton. And when he came back, Superman had never been revealed to the world. He'd been imprisoned, kept away from the sun. Well, in this one, it's not Superman, it's Supergirl. But that's the same thing as from Flashpoint.
Project Superman. Oh, it's so cool.
And
such a
not
good
just
twist.
That, but when he came back, the Atlanteans were fighting the Amazons. That was the big war that was happening on the planet because of what he did, because he broke time. They never really explained how he did it, but just that he did it. And in this one, he's not coming back to Atlanteans warring with Amazons, unless that's in there and we just didn't see it. He comes back to a world where the Kryptonians are coming in like unimpeded and just laying waste to everything. So there are all these major things that look similar. But aren't the same, which is smart.
But see, I think that's why Aquaman goes after, because I think he hasn't fixed it yet. So maybe they are going to do something with the Atlanteans, and that's why Aquaman.
They could. They might. Look, that's a 2-minute trailer out of it.
After this movie,
It very well could. Or things reset into the new universe, which is what the New 52 was, where they said, we're basically keeping the same Batman, but we're really changing Superman. You know what I mean? Like, maybe they'll explain it that way. Well, we're keeping Aquaman, but I don't know. There's just so much speculation about Momoa.
There's
never
no
playing
such thing
Aquaman
as a
again
partial reboot. It's either you reboot or you don't. It's either you're pregnant.
But DC does partial reboots all the time. Now, the question is, are they successful? Are they creatively as rewarding as fans want. I would argue maybe not always,
Well,
but
I want to say, from my standpoint, the new Themyscira show,
right,
where it's supposed, it's supposed to be
yeah,
kind of a Game of Thrones type of thing, a
right.
throwback and all that. So it's pre Wonder Woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about possibilities, for me, the best thing in the world would be that if sometime at the end they go forward and you see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Now, it might be a different Wonder Woman, you know what I mean? But hopefully it would be the same character so that we could relate to it.
Yeah.
With Aquaman, I don't know. I'm a little confused by that. That's why I said, is Flash really the last DCEU movie? Because that's what everybody's talking about. So, and even when you heard Gunn talk about, we were really fortunate with these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Shazam was kind of always out on its own. So to me, that makes it sound like, we're probably going to keep him, or we could if the movie does really good.
Look, if the movie does well, he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
Kind of what I'm thinking.
And Aquaman, was their $1 billion baby. Though, as an aside, I think there's the possibility here that Flash will out Aquaman on this. But
a good chance.
But the thing about it is, what's the movie? For everything I heard, the movie is not about them fighting, the Amazons or something like that. So I don't know how that plays into this, into the DC, into DCU.
Right.
And the Blue Beetle, the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, that could be
totally separate.
That could be totally separate. They could bring him in if they want. I mean, that to me doesn't make any sense. So really, that Aquaman part,
that's the piece that doesn't fit.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, at least we don't know.
Right. They'll make it fit. Yeah. They'll make it fit. And look, the bottom line is, a lot of these movies are in a can. They're finished or mostly finished.
Yeah.
They can't come in and say, well, guess what? None of this matters. Because they're going to cost themselves hundreds of millions of dollars if they do that. And I'll tell you what, I cannot tell you how many times I've seen people say that online. Like, they don't want to bother seeing, I've seen people say it about Shazam. I don't want to go see it. It's going to be undone anyway. I'm like,
it doesn't make any sense.
That's ridiculous. It's a movie. It exists.
Yeah, it's a movie.
So, the whole, doesn't count. That's, to me, look, what Marvel did in terms of creating the shared universe is brilliant, but it also has a downside too, where if maybe some of those things start to go downhill, you're like, well, why bother? I don't like this universe anymore. Or, well, if they don't fit together, why would I even bother seeing it if it's not like a larger part of that tapestry? I'm like, no, that movie is the tapestry. Dave,
I think you hit on a good point. You take a look at Marvel phase 1 through 3, and they clearly had a vision. They were working towards this big Avengers ending thing,
right?
And 4 and the beginning of 5 doesn't seem to have gripped the fans as much.
No,
although they're working towards, I guess, 2 Avengers type movies, right?
Well, Feige,
what's that?
Feige keeps saying, "Oh, it'll all make sense down the when down the line. You're gonna look back." It was like,
but I'm looking at what Dave had to say. If your movie, to say I'm not going to go see the movie because it's not part of this greater story, well, people now are lambasting a lot of the Marvel shows and the movies, even though it's part of the greater story. You go see Shazam because it's a good or great movie. You go see Flash, it's a good great movie. And Aquaman, and assuming that's good or great because you hear good things about it. If it doesn't play into it, or it does, great. But if it's a great movie, a good movie,
go see it.
Go
it's
see it.
It's like me saying I'm not going to see Jurassic Park because it's not going to be a part of a universe, which is now is. But But if that was my attitude, then with the first one, then I would not have seen it. Right? It's like
It's the shared universe thing. I really think it's a double-edged sword. It clearly can make you a lot of money if you do it right. But if people get too either invested or focused on that, it seems like, because I'm a little concerned about some of these movies with people saying things like, well, I'm not going to go see it because it's not going to be a part of what comes later, which while I think it's absurd, the bottom line is the fact that I think it's absurd isn't going to get them into the theaters and putting their money down.
And the reason Flash is going to make $1 gazillion probably is because it does both.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It sounds like from everything we've heard and the audience, the previews and all that it's a great movie. Gunn says it's the best superhero movie he's ever seen, and it clearly
Dark Knight.
Yeah, right. And clearly, it's part of some greater storyline or something like that. So if that's what people are looking for, they should go see The Flash. And I think then you still got to wait and see what Aquaman's about. And then you're not going to go see Blue Beetle, even if it turns out to be a really good movie, because hey, I don't know if it's part of the DCU or not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And the first Shazam was great, so why not see the follow up?
Yeah,
I
agreed.
So I mean, the whole MCU model kind of trained us. I guess this is what Spielberg and other directors have said, that the MCU kind of ruined cinema. Not that they're bad movies, but now we're ignoring other movies that do not belong in a universe. Like we've even recently, Spielberg commended Tom Cruise for saying, "You saved cinema," because everybody went to see Top Gun.
They did,
and it was not a part of a universe.
Wasn't a superhero film.
Superhero movies. It was a plain good fun time at the movies.
It was a fun movie. Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Ironically, a sequel though.
Of course, that's
Well, that was the storyline. I mean, that was part of the storyline.
Of course,
it was another like redemption type of movie, and people like that type of stuff.
Right.
So, and the action was terrific, and just like on this trailer, the action here looks terrific, and in some ways, it could be, a redemption type movie for the actor as well.
I hope it is. I hope Ezra Miller can redeem himself.
Yeah, if Miller keeps his nose clean and does what he needs to do, and this movie does what people seem to think it's going to do, he's got an opportunity. Whether he takes it or not, I don't know. But he's got that opportunity now as well.
Robert Downey did, and he was found in some kid's bedroom, high on drugs and with a gun. So that was it. He thought he was gone, and he came back, and now they're going to pay him $1 gazillion. Favreau gave him that chance.
He did.
Yeah.
So he did.
So, do we agree? So I like your explanation, Dave, where you said that you kind of analogized it to the comic book, with the different events happening there, and then when he came back, I hadn't thought about that, to be honest with you. When he came back to the timeline, he was in the present. And just instead of having the Thomas Wayne Batman, you've got the Batman 89 or whatever. The only part that I don't quite get is the younger Barry. I mean, because normally that doesn't happen, right? Don't they talk about if you meet yourself, you blow up the universe? I mean, so
is it Barry, though? He would come.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I wanted to get to.
It probably is, but
it looks like it's Barry.
No, it
right?
sure looks plausible. Like. Yeah, I mean,
but here's the funny thing is that's what they did in the Flash TV show.
Yeah,
they had the Reverse Flash take the identity of someone else, and he was in plain sight with the heroes the whole time, and you didn't realize, oh my gosh, that's Eobard Thawne. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. Some fans are speculating that is the case because of I think the yellow sweatshirt he's wearing in
there's a lot of yellow. Yeah,
there is, and that's the Reverse Flash's color.
Also,
and they didn't show the Reverse Flash. He is the catalyst. He's the one who murders Barry's mom.
Right, exactly.
So the fact that they didn't show him at all makes me wonder if he's hiding in plain sight. And of course,
Dave,
he may not be. But
Dave, you're a toy guy, right?
No.
You're the action figure comedy.
Not in the least.
Have you seen the lineup for this movie?
Yeah.
The toy lineup?
The Dark Flash is there.
Oh, really?
And the young Azrael.
There isn't a toy line for this yet. Was it Pop?
Yeah, they
is.
released it. Yeah.
No, Bob. What do you call him?
McFarlane?
No, the
McFarlane released like Flash. That's all I saw.
No, but
the
Funko Pops.
The Funko Pops.
But remember how we kind of knew the villain for Black Adam because it was revealed in a
Right. No. When they released the toy or the Legos.
Same thing here.
or the
Yeah,
action
they,
fi-
they presented a dark, like Joe said, a dark Flash.
There we go.
And the thing is, young Barry, he, as I understand it, he took a Batman costume or uniform and converted it into a Flash. So he's wearing this dark.
It's in the trailer.
It's in the trailer.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's why that speculation has come up as well, is that it could be Dark Flash. But yeah, the yellow Reverse Flash, because they could just change it. It could be Dark Flash. Wasn't Dark Flash a future Barry or something like that? But it could be the Dark Flash.
Yeah, they did that
came back
TV
with
show.
Savitar. Did that whole Savitar TV show.
Yeah.
But which maybe there are 3 Flashes in the movie.
That was the talk, wasn't it? That there were 3 of them. For a long time, I think I'd heard that there were 3.
Yeah.
Well, because we keep seeing 2, so we're assuming there are only 2.
Right.
2 Barrys,
Might be. There
so
might be
if one of them is the Dark Flash.
There might be 38 of them. Crisis of Infinite Berries.
There you go.
Now, there you go. That would have been a good movie.
The Dingleberries.
So
I'll edit that out.
Before we close up on this thing and give our final ideas on it, I did want to say, I don't know if people watching this had seen the CW version of this, which was a shorter version, but it had some other scenes in it that didn't occur in the longer Super Bowl version. So I want to play that for everybody, so we can take a look at that, see if we have any comments on it, and then we can kind of close up the show. Hold on. Let me grab it.
What's happening? You changed the future. And you changed the past.
That's Metropolis.
What did you do? Want some help? You're... Yeah. I'm Batman.
Watch the full trailer online now. The Flash.
That's gotta be Batfleck in Metropolis during the Man of Steel event.
But he wasn't. We've already seen what
I know, but it just matches just visually like the way
it does. It could be some. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we've seen what Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne was doing thanks to Batman versus Superman.
But what did Flash? Flash messed with the timeline.
But you can't. But then you're gonna have 2 Batman in the same timeline.
Yeah,
that's the issue.
That's where
if he came back to the future, and the Thomas Wayne Batman is now
there
Batman.
Could be multiple timelines. It's like
there absolutely could be. This is a multiverse. Who knows?
Yeah. So
who knows?
It doesn't have to be 2.
Well, that's the thing. We haven't. But no, we did see that Kara is in the Keaton version. Right. So and Kara is in the Zod version because they show her punching Zod. So it leads me to believe that the Ben Affleck version that is not during.
Right. But if you recall back to the 90s, the Tim Burton movies, they were designed by the whole architecture was designed by Anton Furst, and his work doesn't look like what we've seen so far. So maybe the buildings and all that stuff.
No, that is not the Tim Burton Gotham City. No.
Yeah, or the world. So I don't know. Maybe so far what we've seen, in terms of the cities, it might not be from the Burtonverse. Maybe they're hiding that stuff. I don't know.
And it may have been changed.
Sure.
This is they're going to play with it, and I'm curious to see what they create.
Yeah. Because like I pointed out earlier, they kept the long table from that movie, from the 92 Batman Returns.
Yeah.
So maybe all the aesthetics are still the same in Keaton's verse.
Or only in Wayne Manor. Who knows? they may just pick and choose, and
Yeah. So
who knows?
But
Well,
that's
you
why
know,
we
guys,
should be excited for this movie. So many questions.
I was just
need
gonna
to be
say.
answered.
I was just gonna say that
Super excited.
the whole not only was like the action sequence is great. You know, the visuals that we saw. You know, even like coming up on Batman. You know, whatever the visuals are, weren't they good? But it's got everybody talking, everybody
Yeah.
speculating like this, and that's what you want with the trailer.
Yeah.
And this is
That's
really the
fun.
first trailer. I mean, they had some little snippets. This is really the first trailer. I mean,
Right.
how could it get any better? I don't know.
You know
Unless,
what?
unless for Pretty Fly's sake, they have one where Cavill comes out and says, "We got to talk."
Joe, and for your sake as well. Okay. Joe.
Hey, I'd love for that. And supposedly Cavill and Godot filmed like clips for this, but
yeah,
now
you know.
those might be gone, excised.
But question. If they do
Answer.
release
You
another
should go
trailer,
first. What's that?
if they do release another trailer with new footage, will you guys watch it? Because I think I'm good. I don't want to watch anymore.
Oh, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll
watch it.
Okay.
I'm a sucker.
I guess
And so
it's my
then Dave
job.
and I will go on DC Watch.
I
only
know.
the two of us.
I know. I was gonna say, I guess it's my job to watch now.
For 45 minutes, Lenny would be there like la 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 la, with the weirdest version of weirdest episode of DC Watch ever.
All right. So final thoughts on this, and we'll wrap it up. Lenny, I want you to go first.
Read Flashpoint. You might get a better appreciation for this movie if you do. That's one of my favorite things about James Gunn's involvement, is that he's actually did bring a good amount of attention to the comics and to the source materials, which none of the previous regime or heads of Warner Brothers have done. So if there's things, just read Flashpoint. I'm going to reread it too. So
me too.
So
it's a good
Dave,
read.
what do you think?
Yeah. I can't wait. You know, and it feels good to be this excited. I'm excited for Shazam. I'm excited for Flashpoint. I'm just excited for these DC films coming out. And, you know, like Henry Cavill pointed out in Man of Steel, you know, that stands for hope. And so I'm excited and I'm hopeful, and I hope we get great movies. And, you know, because I think these characters in the DC universe deserves that.
Yeah.
Well, from my standpoint, I would say, yeah, read Flashpoint. I'm hopeful. And I would say also, if you can't get a hold of Flashpoint, watch the DC animated movie, Flashpoint.
Oh, yeah.
Because it gives you, I mean, it really takes it from
it's
the
not
comic
the same,
book.
but like, yeah.
No, it's kind of compressed, but you got the storyline that's there, and you can kind of see what the storyline is. But read the comic book if you can, because that would be the way to go. And I would say, as a practical matter, I'm really, you know, when the whole thing came with Gunn and his announcement and the new Superman, and we don't know if Godot's going to be there. We know this. I was really deflated. And I would say,
we have it on video, Joe.
Yeah, I know. This really kind of inflated me now. And I know it has nothing to do with Gunn. So that's you still got to prove yourself, right?
Yeah.
And although Hamada, I don't know, but I got to give him props for this so far. So to me, this really, I can't wait to see this movie either. I'm hopeful that the Flashpoint part of this keeps Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. That's all I want. Please. All right.
She is great in the part.
Actually, can I say one more thing real quick? I just thought
you
of
sure
it.
can.
No, cut him off, Joe.
All right. No.
It has nothing to do with Snyder. It has nothing to do with Snyder or Cavill.
Right.
But it does have something to do with this shirt. Flash is on the CW Flash is on their last season. I mean, I kind of dropped off. I'm still trying to catch up, but I did drop off. But because I've been such a big fan of the show, so I think I'm gonna watch it again. Not just because I think they earned it for me, like, you know, they did the whole Arrowverse kept the whole DC thing going and relevant, but watch it because there might be a connection to this movie. because I know I threw Gustin's name during the conversation.
More
I'm gonna
than
watch
one.
it for that. But if you don't feel like watching it, just keep an ear on what's happening in the show. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And
No,
with that, I'm sorry, Dave, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say it's the final season.
Yeah.
Check it
Yeah.
out. You know, they had a good run. I mean,
They had a
hundreds of
good-
episodes of television.
Yeah.
Props.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll say goodbye to everybody. Thanks for watching DC Watch, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.